never, 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 never give up. And then somebody else said, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. I didn't especially believe that about myself, but I said it every day and I made myself believe it, and it worked. But I persevered. I never gave up my dream.
Before we get into the main topic of the video today, I wanted to talk about one thing here that a lot of people really don't think about when you're using green wood. Now, today's video was on the siding here for the kiln, which is board and batten. Now, if you're new to this channel, you won't be familiar with this term, but if you've been here for a while, then you know what I'm talking about. So if you guys are wondering why I just put Anchorseal on this board, here's the reason. When you do board and batten siding, you're using green wood 99% of the time. I don't think I've ever seen anybody put seasoned wood up for board and batten. Maybe they have, but not around here. So what you're doing is you're cutting off 2 square ends on a piece of rough lumber, which is what I just did. And when you do that, you're opening up the end grain for moisture loss and gain again. So it's just like it's drying all over again, because the logs were anchor sealed by me before I put them on the wood-mizer. And when you saw up those ends, when you square them up, you're opening that up and you're taking that end off that was anchor sealed. So in the gist of it, it's like taking a log before you put it on the sawmill, and let's say you put Anchorseal on it a month ago. Let's say you cut that end off, then put it on the mill. We got to put Anchorseal on again. This wood isn't dried yet. It's going to dry and move a whole lot more. It's going to shrink. The width and the thickness is going to change at least by 1/16 of an inch over time. So when you have some green wood like this, and this is not just for people with sawmills, if you're building with green wood for barns or anything, and the timber you're using is not been seasoned, and when you square up those ends, you need to seal up the ends again. Now, that's kind of like overkill, people will probably say, and a lot of people don't do it. And I don't think I know anybody else that does it besides myself. I'm sure there's some people out there that might chime in that does it. But it's a good idea if you got Anchorseal around to put a fresh coat on there, and it just takes a few seconds, because when this wood is on the side of this building and it's drying over time, because that's what you do when you put green boards up for siding. You put them up green when the wood's easier to work with, and when it dries over time, it's going to change just a little, but it is going to dry while it's hanging here on the side of the building. And you don't have to worry about the ends of them checking, because they will check and crack. Go look at an old barn that's been seasoned, that's been up for 100 years. We got barns all over this country. Go look at the siding boards, and I bet that a lot of the boards that you'll look at for the siding have checked over the years. Small step to take, but it may save you a lot of heartache in the long run and not having to worry about a piece of siding that's got some terrible cracks on the end of them. They're probably not going to be running through the whole length of the board. These are 109 inches, I believe. Is that what I did? Yeah, 109 inches. So if I was to develop a check, of course it's not going to run the full length. It will run a few inches in though, and it may mess up one of your screws that's holding the board on, or it may just bother you. And if you're real meticulous like I am, every time you look at it, you'll look right at that crack. And if you're looking for Anchorseal, I don't think anybody sells it like Home Depot or Lowe's. I've never seen it in no store like that. Woodcraft probably has it. We don't have a Woodcraft here. I'll leave a link down below to Amazon. That's where I get mine. If you're interested and you're harvesting timber, you got to have that stuff. It's just going to pay for itself very fast. As you take a log or a board that's not been anchor sealed on the ends, and you're going to lose a few feet when you have to cut off those ends that crack. Now something else I like to do, and just makes it look neater, is I like to have my nails, or my screws rather, in the same place on every board. I just think it looks better. And this is going to be painted later on. It ain't going to matter as much, but why not? You know, this takes a few seconds and makes everything look a lot more uniform when you put it up. Anyways, I had a question on the last video, and I was talking about doing a video for this board in Batten, and he called these purl ends right here that I'm attaching the siding to, I just call them runners. They're little store-bought 1x3s. I'm also using these same exact strips for the battens, but we'll get into that in here in just a minute. So his question was, why am I not attaching the siding directly to the building? Well, this is the kiln. Of course, we're all aware of that, and you've watched this series, you kind of know how this thing was built. I got OSB underneath of this house wrap. Now this house wrap is kind of overkill, didn't really need it, but I had it on hand, so I went ahead and used it anyway. So I got OSB, the house wrap, my runner, and the siding. And the reason I'm putting a gap between the siding and the actual building is because of moisture. So in the manual for the kiln, or the construction plans that wood-mizer gives you when you buy it, they recommend on your siding to leave an air gap between the actual building and the siding itself, and here's the reason why. Now, I insulated this thing very well, but there's a chance some water, some vapor, or some kind of mist in the air inside that kiln might escape through the walls at some point. And if it tries to travel outside of the kiln to evaporate here in the atmosphere, it's going to get trapped, kinda, if it can't get through the siding. Well, their thinking is, if you put this gap between the building and the siding, that gives up moisture somewhere to go. So if you have any moisture escape through the wall, it's not going to go right into this siding here and get absorbed. It's going to have a little bit of an air gap in here and have a chance to kind of evaporate. So that's what they suggest to do, is just to leave that little gap in there so any moisture in the air can evaporate outside of the building. And if you think about it, it's pretty smart. That way it gives that water somewhere to go. But hopefully I won't ever have that problem. But over time, as this building settles, as I run a lot of loads through it, it gets a little age on it, I may develop some small cracks that you'll never see, but if that does occur, it's got somewhere to go. wondering, I'm wearing the old sunglasses again today. I have a hard time focusing on that camera. Got my eyes looking everywhere. It looks kind of odd when I go back and watch it. I'm probably the only person that notices it.